Morning all, how we doing? Can you just let me know the microphone sounds okay this morning, because I've just put a filter on, noise suppression filter. Morning David. So I just want to check that's working, because I'm still getting loads of feedback from the fan, and I found this filter that should get rid of fan noise. So hopefully you can hear me and you can't hear any background noise. But... Morning Ladder, morning Sammy, morning Diamond. Mic is good. Let me turn this filter off a minute and just see what this says. So I've basically got this noise suppression filter. So this is noise suppression. So you see what happens with it, yeah? So that's the mic. Goes flat. And then if I take this filter off, that's all feedback. Sort of 50% volume, but I don't quite know exactly what is causing that. So I'm assuming it's just fan noise. So putting that on, and it vanishes. So I'm assuming that works. But anyway, I'll have a listen back later. You sound crisp. Good. Your fan is very loud. My fan is not very loud. My fan is on quiet as well, which is the other thing. I can't make it any more quiet. This is my fan. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fans and a water pump, and I can change these are all set to quiet. I can put them on 0, but obviously then my computer will blow up. So that's kind of not an option. But, yeah. Anyway, right. Huge difference, is it? Oh, right. Okay, well, that's good to know. See, background noise from your fans on your PC is kind of something you get used to, but obviously this mic is super sensitive, I guess. So, morning, Hank. How close is my computer to the mic? About an arm's length, I suppose. I mean, I've got a very powerful PC running an RTX card, and you know, so there's a lot. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fans, 5 fans, and a water pump. So it's still pretty quiet. Anyway, it's working. That's the important thing. You can set your own fan curves if you have Corsair. Yeah, quiet on a Corsair fan is anything below 85 decibels. Yeah. I mean, when I put them up to noisy, when you change this thing to noisy, like if I put it on extreme, it sounds like a jet taking off. When I'm playing, like if I'm playing Far Cry or something, it goes mental. That's what headphones are invented for, gamers, because gamers can't play high-end games without their fans going completely crazy. So you need headphones to cancel out all the noise. Anywho, talking that. So I wasn't here Friday. Still managed to bank 1.7% on Friday, which is pretty awesome. So I'll go through the trades from Friday first, so you know what happened. It's amazing that on Friday it's TP's hit, because I was not here and I let my trades play out. I hit TP because I didn't close them early. What happens when you don't watch your charts? You hit your TPs. So basically all closed out with DAX on Friday. So we had 3 DAXs and £2 USs. So it is that one there, that one there, and that one there. Closed that one out on Friday morning because that hit that TP, and the other 2 closed out towards end of day. So, oops, they were pretty good. So that one hit its TP, and the other two basically just closed out when we came down into this propulsion gap. And closed out pound US dollar. 2 positions on the pound US dollar from a while ago. So that one there and that one there closed out. I've just entered another position on this one as well. The EA is still running on it, so I am still short pound US. Got the one position on it. We're down at these lows. I get the feeling we're going to get a pullback on this. In fact, should I really actually be getting into this? Of course I shouldn't. What am I doing? Get out. Close. I'm just getting out of that pound US dollar. That's a stupid position to get into. Let me just open the EA. Pound US dollar. Close. Okay. 4, that's right, isn't it? Oh, one more count. Yeah, so I got those 3 on. So exposure at the moment is on DAX. Just got the one position on that. Big gap today as well on the DAX. So we may well fill that in. So I've just got that one position on the DAX at the moment. And I've got Euro New Zealand on short, which is going okay. And I've got oil, which is not going okay. Well, it's just not bad. It's only 0.6% drawdown, but it's oil's a bit temperamental at the moment. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Yeah. So that's fine. So those 3 are running. That's good. My Forex funds account on Friday closed out 0.83% on that. Running in 0.8% drawdown at the moment. Most of that is on the pound New Zealand. Actually, it's not. Actually, it's on the Swiss yen now. So Swiss yen, I've got shorts on. I have entered this morning. I'm trying to keep this as automated as possible, basically, to get just let the EA trade it. But as with everything, I do want to step in every now and again. I've got a sell stop, manual sell stop I've placed below this low here, which is the Asian low today. Reason being, I get the feeling we might get a reversal back into this balance from last week. And we may also get a bounce off of this high. So I wanted to get into another position there to give me options to get out of some of this down here and possibly get rid of one of those positions, just in case, because I'm really still not sure what's happening with the yen. So, but yeah, that's sitting in 0.8. I've banked 4% now. Target is 8%, and I've got 30 days to do it. I'm 10 days in, so I'm halfway to target, a third of the way through the allocated time. So looking really just to try and get a couple of percent a week. If I can get it all done this week, fantastic, and I'll move on to stage 2. But yeah, it depends on what the market does. So my Forex funds is going okay. Morning, Stevie. Closed 2 trades early this morning, and I will get it yet, possibly. Had a nice H4 gap to put a sell stop on. Can you enter Euro New Zealand now, or is it too late? Euro New Zealand. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it on the 4 hour, we're up at 24. Yeah, this is the euro. This is the euro. Oh, I've got some new pens as well. Look, everybody. I bought Epic Pen. I've actually finally bought it. I've had the free version forever. Now I can draw lines as well, and I can do dead straight lines for support resistance. I can also draw circles, squares, and arrows. Look at that. And I can type. There you go. Epic Pen. is more epic now. But anyway, whether I'll use any of it, I don't know. Yeah, so still like this short, obviously. It's the euro. Yeah. Euro New Zealand is actually not the best example of short on euro, but yeah, I still like it short. There's not a lot of news. There's some New Zealand dollar news came out. Lots of Royal Bank of New Zealand news coming out. Nothing particularly important, but there were things like this. The economy is more resilient than projected. So they're quite hawkish. They're quite bullish on the New Zealand dollar. So I kind of like New Zealand dollar to be strong, and obviously euro is a short, so I still like this as a big short. There's a lovely liquidity run just happened at the 24. We were nicely extended just about on the 4 hour. So yeah, take it short. You can see where I'm targeting. I think we're still coming down on the euro, so you can get in that one still. It's so quiet, and then I realised there's no tick strike in the background. No, I haven't got to. I've just cancelled my tick strike. I'm not trading futures at the moment. I've just not got the time. I've got. I passed my second apex, which I haven't actually traded yet. Out of all those apex evaluations I did, I've got 2 of them. My other apex account is sitting in 4.5k of profit, so I'm letting that sit there so I can draw it out. Well, I could draw 1,000 out this month. The problem with Apex is you can't draw until 3 months. So I kind of dip in and out of futures, build up the account, and then leave it, because if I touch it, I've got the chance of blowing the account. So I'd rather build it up to a point where I can withdraw it and then go for it, basically, when I've got the funding. So if you don't know, with Apex, with futures, when you pass and get your funded account, month 1, depending on the size of your account. So month 1, you can draw, that's a really bad pound sign, isn't it? You can draw 1k. Month 2, you can draw 1k. Should be $1, I think that's why. And then month 3, you can draw whatever you like. So you've got to hold the funded account for 3 months before you can actually get your money out. So the idea is to build the account, stop trading it, maybe build a little bit more, stop trading. You've got to trade a certain number of days as well. And then month 3, take the lot out and go for it. Which is why you need to have so many evaluations running, so many accounts. Because if you want to get paid properly, you need 3 or 4 accounts. If you want to draw 4 or 5k out in the first month, you're going to need 4 or 5 accounts. It's the only downside. Is tick strike helpful? It is. I find it invaluable, tick strike, for futures. I can't really, but I find it very, very helpful, tick strike, just because I can hear confirmation of what I'm thinking. If I'm thinking market short and I can hear tick strike entering big orders short, it's just that confirmation for me to get into trades. I don't trade using tick strike. I use tick strike to help me make decisions. So there's nothing happening at the moment. So right. So not a lot of news overnight, but there was a lot of news overnight and over the weekend. We'll go for the news. Interest rates for the Bank of China, 3.65. Why on earth the Bank of China does this like silly little percentages? Everybody else is moving in quarters and halves, and they go up in 0.15s. But yeah, interest rates changed. China doesn't really affect us an awful lot. Bank of New Zealand has near as damn it said we are going up to 4 to 4.25. So it's not a case of if, it's a case of once. So New Zealand are ahead of the game. They're ahead of the curve at the moment. They're on 3%, I think. So give it 3 to 6 months and they'll be up at 4 to 4.25. And then they will see what inflation does. If inflation curve levels out, they'll probably keep their interest rates where they are. They're a little bit ahead of the game, New Zealand. They're always ahead of the game with everything. They're good. Finally, maybe because they got women in charge. But hey. Australia, US. There was some talk about nuclear stuff at the weekend. Kishida's gone positive for COVID. Japanese Prime Minister. Apart from that, not an awful lot. Nagel said on Saturday that wasn't it? Recession in Germany seems probable if the energy crisis worsens. I would say a recession in Germany is going to happen regardless of what happens with energy prices. But yeah, so a little bit more negative coming out of the euro. So nothing dramatic over the weekend, news-wise. This week we've got fairly busy week. It's split across the front end and back end of the week. There's nothing today news-wise. Tomorrow we've got, so it's PMI week basically. So tomorrow we've got PMIs for, look at me drawing squares with my new pen. We've got PMI for the euro, PMI for the pound, and PMI for the US dollar, all kicking off tomorrow. So morning we've got obviously the European figures, and then 15 minutes after market open we've got the US figures. Nothing much on Wednesday. Got durable goods, which doesn't tend to really do anything. And then on Thursday, we've got the GDP for the US dollar. We've got Jackson Hole kicking off. Jackson Hole is a banking summit, so we don't tend to get a lot of real news coming out of it. It's bankers basically talking, but there are press conferences in there, and the press conferences are what we typically find we get the volatility out. So we may get some movement Thursday, Friday from Jackson Hole, but then on Friday we've got PCE and we've got Powell speaking. So as you can see, tomorrow really is the main day, and then Friday. So this week we might find today is a little bit quiet, but I think we're going to find a fair bit of volatility throughout the week because the news is quite nicely spread out. So I don't think the market's going to sit there on its hands and wait for any of these. And the PMI figures obviously are important. They're coming out tomorrow. But apart from that, PCE, we're not going to sit around and wait for something like PCE and Powell to talk. The GDP figures are reactionary. So they don't really tend to do an awful lot. Unless they come out really, really, really bad and different, then we will get some movement off of those. But yeah, so fairly light week for news. We've got a lot of news, so there's a lot of volatility options there for the banks to use to move things, but nothing particularly groundbreaking this week. So let's have a look at the charts. We'll have a rundown of all the charts. We'll skip that. Do you use it for scalping or still mean reversion? This is for futures, Hank. I use tick strike. What are you talking about? Scalping. It's all scalping in futures. For me, anyway. But I do trade mean reversion. I trade out of a lot of the time. I trade out of value area high and value area lows, and I trade breakouts. So I trade breakouts and value area high and low mean reversions in futures. That's really what I do. But it's all scalping. I'm in and out as fast as I possibly can. How do I remove some symbols from my MT4? I have a double for all symbols. That's because, Sammy, you have probably done that thing with your broker, haven't you, where you've used one MT4 for multiple brokers, which is a pain in the arse. So you just right click and hide. Yeah. Or go into symbols. And in here, you can turn them on and off, double clicking on them. So yeah, MT4 is just software. When you connect to MT4, you can connect to any broker through the same MT4 terminal. The problem is, every time you change brokers, it will download that new broker feed and broker symbol set. So your symbol set, you get it all nice and organized. If I switch over to a different broker now, this symbol set goes all over the place and I have to rearrange everything. It's a pain in the arse. But it should remove all the old symbols. If it doesn't, that's an MT4 Mac issue. I don't know. It should do. So if I switch to a different broker now, it will get rid of these symbols and put the new symbols from the new broker in there. But it will remove the old symbols. So if it hasn't done that, there's an issue somewhere. Easiest thing to do is just to download multiple MT4s. But I tend to try and stick with one broker now. I used to trade multiple brokers to spread my liability out across different brokers, but it's kind of gone to changing back to what I used to be, which is having all my eggs in one basket, which during the Swiss franc peg release, I regretted dramatically, but I've got more money under me now, so if worst case scenario, my money does get tied up because a broker goes bust, I've actually got more money I can trade with, so I'm not that bothered at the moment. So the double symbols have postfix, and these symbols might be for account type. Oh yeah, the other thing is, yeah, you can have different types of symbols, Sammy. You will have, I haven't got any in this particular broker, but you can have different types of symbols. So you might have pound odd under normal Forex, and then you'll have either Forex ECN or Forex Pro, where you'll have a .pro extension on them. But basically just need to remove them. So. Morning, Forex machinist. Right, so let's get on with analysis. I'm just watching Euro New Zealand. I'm just keeping an eye on this because Pound New Zealand on my other on my Forex funds account is this is going to be New Zealand dollar pushing, I imagine. It's not going to bank some of that today. Right, so let's have a look at the dashboards to start off with. So we've covered the news. If there's anything anybody specifically wants to look at, let me know. DAX this morning, we've got the gap fill nearly done, the open. So opening range, fairly big opening range this morning. The gap fill is up there. So it looks like they're reaching for the gap fill first, which is good because I want this down. We're coming down on the DAX. No ADRs, no weeklies, obviously, because it's Monday. So nothing overnight really has moved the market far enough to get anything extended. So obviously keep an eye on that. The weeklies, the monthlies rather, we covered. A lot of these have already played out, but there's not a lot of monthly at the moment. It's summer months. We don't tend to get massive monthly ranges being exceeded in the summer months because obviously the ADR tends to drop during summer. So hourlies, there's nothing. And 4 hourlies, we've got a few to look at. So I'm not going to bother going through these individually because we're going to do a rundown of all the pairs this morning anyway. So I'm just going to do an analysis of everything. So there's no point going into these individually. But there's a few opportunities. Pound US dollar, for example, is below the 20. And the euros are getting a little bit extended as well. Euro US dollar, pound CAD. US dollar yen. There's a few to look at, but we'll have a look at all of them anyway. We're just tapping into this little support area here on Euro New Zealand. So we need to break this. We tapped it again there. We need to get this broken so we can get a move down started. That one. I'm in 6 trades in GN and it's just closed into profit. Cool, crossed into profit. Cool. Yeah, I think you'll be all right. Especially after that New Zealand dollar news we had over the weekend. That'll give confidence for the New Zealand dollar. We should get some decent pushing on that. It's due as well. It's really due some strength. So decent push starting this morning on the New Zealand. Right, so I'm going to start off with oil. So oil basically is still, GU we'll have a look at as well, is still pushing down, although we've got this peak formation low in now, I think, down at the 86, 85 to 86 a barrel is kind of where I was expecting there to be the low of the low. If we continue down, something's wrong, because oil is dropping below pre-Ukraine levels. So I know there's a lot of pressure on oil, on everything to do with power at the moment, because it's becoming ridiculously expensive everywhere. But at the end of the day, there is a level where they need to keep it to function, and we've got demand not dropping off. We've got supply being constricted. The Nord Stream pipeline is being closed for 2 days as well at the end of this month, which is going to put extra supply constraints in place. So I really think we should either do one or two things now on oil. We should either plateau and go into a balance down here where we're all happy to transact at this level, or we should start the next leg up and continuation of the pre-Ukraine trend and move that we had. So this area here really should act as a decent support to either go into balance or to push. We don't go into balance often on oil, though. If you look at it, we're usually always on the move in one direction or the other, because it's a supply and demand instrument. So I think where we are is quite crucial, and I'm looking this week for us to get these highs targeted and just keep taking out these highs, just to show that market structure is shifting back to either bullish or into a range. If it goes into a range, that's fine. Every time it gets down here, I'll add and I'll take off up there. And if we keep staying in balance, I'll just keep adding at the lows and keep buying it. So I'm either going to be neutral balanced and just buy the lows and sell the highs, morning Gary, or I will be bullish and will be running. So either or, I don't mind. But looking for some positive movement on that. I'm going to put orders down at the lows down here. So be looking down these levels. If we get an ADR hit today, for example, I'll be entering more positions down there, looking to push. So, but yeah, it looks good where we are still. It's just not moving very quickly. But it's, you know, I've been milking this thing for weeks now, and it's doing very well. So as long as it keeps either range bound or pushes, we'll be absolutely fine on that. Indices. So looking at the DAX, DAX basically we started that rollover. So let's look at the daily on DAX. So we started the rollover. On when was that? That was Wednesday last week. So that gap fill was where I was looking initially for the reversal to start. We came up to the 72. We poked our head above the 72. That's what I was expecting to kick in. It didn't. It gave us another 3 days of push, and then we reversed the whole lot in 1 day. So lovely, massive bearish engulfing. And then the next day we had basically a pause bar, and then a bearish day again on Friday. So basically looking for this to be the peak formation high, and for us to start our next leg to the downside and continue this bear move. So yeah, really good level. I'm really glad it turned there. This 14,305 is where I've identified as the next level of support resistance that's available to us. So if it didn't start turning soon, this is where we were heading, which is a hell of a push back up to above the 200 moving average. So I think where we are now is really good, and we should start to push down from here. So obviously every opportunity for a pullback on that before that happens. We've got a gap to fill from Thursday, Friday last week. Today's gap pretty much been done. So we've just got to be aware whenever you've got gaps in the market, it's rare that these get left behind. The vast majority of the time the market will come and do them within a couple of days. Sometimes though it takes a week to get back there. Point in case that one there. So that was a 4-day gap. So I'd like to see what I would like to see happen this week Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, is for the DAX actually to push and get this done, because if it can get that done, there's no imbalance in the market and we can just dump, which is what I think it needs to do, because we should be starting that next leg down. So we've just put in a new lower low there. So any kind of pullback in there, obviously we don't want that high breached, but any kind of pullback into this balance there and drop will be absolutely fantastic. So we'll see what happens with DAX today, see whether it's going to continue its move or not. Yeah, it's another example there. Look, yeah, didn't manage to get back to that one. Took a few days, 2 or 3 days, 4 days, came back to it and then opened up the floodgates for the next leg down. Happens quite often. So that's the plan. So obviously, don't forget we've got this gap. Yeah, so we can't be really bearish until we've got this sorted. So that's the DAX. NASDAQ. Same thing, we started the rollover. We pushed up way higher than I was expecting on the NAS and the S&P. We pushed up above the 200 on this. It started to roll over. We haven't got a new low in yet on this. So potentially the bulls will be watching this and saying, right, we are still on a roll. So we've still got bullish market structure in place at the moment. Potentially that is next leg. But if this low breaks, i.e. we get the reversal alert here, then obviously market structure is shifted and we're looking for a pullback drop. So key week this week for the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the US indices, they're all the same. Yeah, so pick one, anyone. We're doing pretty much the same thing. The DAX is ahead of the curve, basically. So this week, we'll have confirmation. We should have confirmation whether or not we're starting next leg down on the US indices as well. So we've still got this area on the S&P as target. So we'll see if we can get down there, which is, if there's nothing changing in the economy. Inflation's still running rife. Interest rates are still going up. Everybody's still getting poorer. Costs of energy is going up. Housing market is about to collapse. Everything's still going the same way into recession. There's no reason why the stock market should be pushing. So I wonder if that is like, let's put a trend line on that. No. So the trend line junkies haven't been fulfilled yet, depending on obviously where you draw your trend lines. So yeah, there's opportunity for another hit. But I don't use trend lines. Right, so that's the indices. Currently downloading another version of MP4, which hopefully works better on Mac. Second version of MP4 downloaded takes the preset and save files from the first. Yeah. What I do whenever I have multiple, I want multiple MT4s with the same broker, I just basically copy the MT4 installation folder into another one and call it MT4 Robo Forex 2, and then launch that, and it's basically pretty much the same. And then you can close that down, copy all your files over, and you're back to where you were. But try not to switch broker. That's the best thing to do. So that's the indices covered. Gold, don't trade it, but coming down because it's a US dollar cross. US dollar powered up, gold came down. So it's traded the same as any other US dollar cross. If you're bullish on the US dollar, short it. If you're bearish on the US dollar, long it. But yeah, I don't know where gold's going. Well, gold's going nowhere. You can see gold's going nowhere at the moment. We're just stuck sideways. So start buying the lows. If we get up to highs, we'll sell them, but too volatile. Don't like it. Coming down nicely at the moment. So let's have a look at all the pairs. So Aussies, Aussie dollar at the moment. I'm not bullish, not bearish. Bit neutral on it at the minute. So we've had this low down here on the RSI that got hit, but all we did was accumulate off of it. So we got an extension to the downside, but all we did was go into balance. It's gradually starting to push out now. We had some nice divergence, which is bullish. So I think potentially we could get a little bit more of a push. Don't forget the Aussie and the New Zealand move in tandem. We've had some fairly positive noises coming out of New Zealand over the weekend. So we might start find some bullishness on the New Zealand, which will give us bullishness on the Aussie. Canadian dollar is still struggling with oil prices, so it's difficult to tell what is going on with the CAD at the moment. But there's no news catalysts for the Canadian dollar at all this week. We've got oil obviously on Wednesday, which we always do have, but there's nothing else for the CAD this week. And we've not really got anything Aussie or New Zealand either. We've got retail sales for the New Zealand dollar on Wednesday, but apart from that, there's no Asian news this week. So it's difficult to tell what the market's going to do with these. I would suspect we're just going to do a little bit of a pullback and then continue. So I don't really have a bias on this at the moment. If I had to be forced into one, it would be short, based on the fact that I think the CAD is going to pump with oil. But as I said, at the moment, oil isn't looking particularly strong. It's not looking particularly weak after this push, but it's not looking particularly strong either. So very difficult one to call at the moment, Aussie CAD. If you can look at it from a trend perspective, you should be shorting it. Right now it's just not in the right place. So if we were to get a push up, we got an alert on the hourly, for example, to go short on the RSI, I would probably be interested in those for short options. But at the moment, not really anywhere. Aussie dollar Swiss, very similar thing. I'd be bullish on the Swiss franc after the Swiss franc rate announcement. We're just sitting in balance at the minute. So in theory, you could take longs at the lows and shorts at the highs. Because of current bias with the Swiss franc being strong, I'd much rather be short this one. So I'd be looking to take shorts up there. So if we can get any pushes up the highs, again, hourly, you're going to get more signals. Be shorting the highs on Aussie dollar Swiss. So as long as we're staying in this range, don't forget ranges will break at some point, and ranges will normally, most of the time, break in line with the trend. The trend is down. Yeah. So if we're going to get a break, these are the ones which are more likely to break. Yeah. So if you get pushes up to the upside, it's more likely it's going to stay in the range. If you get pushes to the downside, there is a chance that will be the last one before that range breaks. If you're going to long the lows, counter trend, you've got more chance of going into a squeeze. So I'd much rather short the highs on the Aussie Swiss, just based on 4-hour trend at the moment. And the Swiss franc bias, obviously. Swiss franc, the market loved the Swiss franc rate announcement. But the Swissy is partnered with Euro, and Euro is an absolute short at the moment. So you can see how confusing the market is. You know, you've got positive bias on it because of rates. You've got negative bias on it because it trades with the Euro. It's in a bear trend, and it's also in a sideways range. There's better pairs out there to trade, basically. Aussie dollar yen. Yen's still confused.com. Let me just, reset my template. We'll get a bit messy again. So Aussie dollar yen, really don't know about this one either. The yen pairs, I still can't get a handle on a bullish or a bearish on them because everything else is kind of weak at the moment. Everything is weak against the yen, but equally everything can be strong against the yen, because if Kuroda comes out and says something negative, it's going to pop. If he comes out and says something positive, it's going to dump. I don't know. So you're kind of, with all these yen pairs at the moment, you're kind of at the mercy of news. So at the moment we're just in a contraction. Which way that contraction is going to break is difficult. I would be at the moment bullish on everything against the yen, just based on current trend. So looking to buy the lows on it. Less inclined to sell the highs, although those are also working out very nicely. So you can probably take it either way at the minute. But my own personal bias is at the moment, just based on what economics are doing in Japan, I would much more be interested in buying it than selling it. But, you know, it's not really going anywhere. So Aussie New Zealand longs, it's done it again, hasn't it? I got out on Friday or last week. When did I get out of the Aussie New Zealand? Yeah, it was my last one. Which was in there. Didn't I say it? I called this. I said this. It's exactly the same as I did last time when I was longing it from here. I was longing it, got fed up with it, and then it pumped. I've been longing it, got fed up with it. Literally, the day after. It's literally the day after I get out of the Aussie New Zealand. Every time it pumps. So I'm still long Aussie New Zealand. It hit my TP. I just got out of it. The problem with the Aussie New Zealand is it's a low ADR pair and it bores the hell out of me because 90% of the time it's sitting in a range and it does these occasional pops. What I don't like about it is if you get stuck on the wrong side of one of these, it takes ages to get out of it, which is why I'm in and out of it fast all the time. So it's popped. I'm long on it. It's extended to the upside. I wouldn't be interested in shorting this. I'm interested in longing it when it gets back down there. Yeah, this is the long of all longs. You don't want to be shorting it. You want to be longing it. So, yeah, I'm just waiting for that to come back down so I can long it again. Aussie US is a short. The US dollar is a real mystery as well. The yen, the problem we've got at the moment is all the majors are a real mystery. We know pound is a short. We know euros are short. The US dollar and the yen, however, very difficult to tell what you want to be on them, whether you want to be bullish or bearish, because yen, I think at the moment is a short, so you want to be longing everything against the yen. The US dollar can turn on a dime, and the Fed isn't helping by giving out mixed messages on it. Do you have my chart on the foreground? Yeah, so chart on foreground. If you put chart on background, you'll find that the moving averages don't work properly. Oops. Yeah, so US dollar is a tricky one at the moment. What I think is going to happen with the US dollar, because at the moment it's very neutral, it's being pushed around a little bit, and we're getting the occasional spurt of power out of it every time we get something coming out of the Fed. But what I think we're going to get is the next interest rate change on the US dollar is either going to be, I think, way above what they were forecasting because they're not releasing too much information about it, or it's just going to be another 0.5%. If it's another 0.5%, I don't think the market's going to be very bullish on the US dollar. If they put the interest rates up more than 0.5% on the next announcement, I think the dollar will go bullish. But at the moment, it's weak. We're in summer month. So with anything US dollar at the moment, I think you can really take any extension in any direction. I'm kind of like that ever so slightly on the US dollar, but only ever so slightly. And as long as we're getting movement, we're getting news, and the market is moving and profit taking, I don't see a problem with taking the US dollar in either direction, as long as you're trading against something that isn't massively short, like the euro or the pound. But up to you. Everybody's got a different sort of analysis on it. If you're a technical trader, this is a long. You know, you're looking at this right now thinking, yep, this is the mother of all longs. I need to be long in it. So long it. Extended on the 4 hour, take a long. Where you get out at the moment though, is a difficult call with anything. So, you know, just it's very difficult to give analysis at the minute because it's summer trading months, we've got light liquidity. Any kind of little news is giving us these massive spikes, but there's no follow through or continuation on anything because the market is in a massive fear mode at the moment and not interested in long-term speculation. So any big moves we're getting tend to fade very fast, a la that example there. So you can really get in either end, and you're going to get a move out of it. But don't go crazy. Go for half an ADR. Go for 1/4%, 0.5%. You know, just go for small targets and just get in and out regularly. As you can see, that's what I'm doing. I'm in and out. I'm in and out. I'm in and out, and just banking, because at the moment that's what the market, you're able to do with it. So, morning, Fabio. I think then. So there's the Aussies. Aussie, I haven't really got a bias on it. At the moment, really, I'm trend based for bias. I think that's the best thing to look at. Since December, if you go back to Christmas time when this all started to get a little bit rocky, since then it's a case of, I think, follow the trend and stay with the trend. So I'm looking for shorts ideally on this one at the moment. And, you know, even if it's gone green, you know, you see, we poke our head out. We know we poke our head out. But the overall trend is definitely down. Short-term trend was long, and it's broken back down. So any pushes up, we're looking to short. CAD Swiss, sideways mess, really don't know. Swiss franc, little flag broke, and we're just kind of sideways. We're back in this area of balance. We've just broken out below it, actually. So I would be looking more for shorts than longs. We haven't had any opportunities since there. And that one I don't think I took because I was worried about them doing the gap fill. So, which they didn't do. And he's still open. So, again, no bias on that one either way. CAD yen, same sort of thing on the CAD yen. Don't know with the yen. I would be much more interested in longs than shorts. So entry there and entry back down. Actually, I did take this, didn't I? I was trading this all the way down there and got out there. There was an entry there. So yeah, I would be looking for long opportunities on it, on any pullbacks. So if we get a pullback this week, or if you drop down to the hourly, if you see any hourly extensions, longs. Just broken out above that high as well. So any kind of pullback into sort of middle of the range would be interesting to take longs. But again, this is the reason I'm a little bit cautious on the yen. I've got no exposure on the yen, is because at any moment Kuroda can come out, and he's notorious for doing it, and just say something that the market just goes, well, hey, off we go, and the yen powers up and it doesn't look back. And if you get stuck the wrong side of that, it can be very, very painful. So I'm just trying to find really, really good opportunities for the yen, which is why I've had very little exposure on the yen over the last few weeks. I'm just not sure on it. And there's plenty of other opportunities going to come up. So, Swiss yen, same thing, long, especially with the Swissy. We're not right now because we're up at the highs. But if we get back down anywhere down here, and again, looking on the hourly, any kind of hourly extensions, we haven't had one. Beginning of August, just up. So again, any kind of longs, you know, if you're scalping, drop down to M15, take M15 or M5 reversal alerts to the upside. Just long it basically at the moment. But for me, it's just not I haven't had any opportunities to get into it. The euros are short. All of the euros are short, apart from euro yen, which is I just steer clear of. But yeah, euros short. We had a lovely pullback up into the 4-hour RSI on the euro odd. That happened at the same time as Euro New Zealand. The Euro New Zealand was the one that I took, but either or. So yeah, liking it short. Euro odd and Euro New Zealand. You can wait for pullbacks on these. So if you miss these opportunities, you can drop down to M5 and just let this get a reversal alert at some point, assuming it does, and take the next reversal alert short just to get yourself into it. But yeah, like those short, Euro odd and the Euro New Zealand, both the same. Both got nicely extended. Nice M pattern, got lovely divergence. Yeah, so it's all looking bearish. Euro CAD, short based on Canadian dollar strength, which we haven't had, which is why we've had this. So the euro has been basically weak. The Canadian dollar has been weak. 2 weak currencies equals range. Got. So more likely this will break to the downside, this range, than to the upside. So we're looking for short opportunities. Just about kind of on hourlies, you would have just about got into those. Yeah, so short every RSI extension to the upside if you get it on EuroCAD. Euro Swiss, same, you know, doesn't take a rocket scientist. Short it if you can get in. The trouble is getting in. It's just how to get in. Yeah, you could literally hit the sell button at any time and just set the EA up on this to go short with half an ADR, quarter of an ADR, an ADR spacing between entries, and just let it milk it. But not how I trade, but you know, there's loads of opportunities on all of these euros for shorts, and there has been for years and months. You know, I've been shorting these for a long time, but trying to get into them is very, 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 very hard. So just hourlies are really tough to get in on as well. Look, just one there, didn't get the extension there. So yeah, hard to get into, but short it if you want to have a bias. You know, if you're watching this because you want a bias, short. Euro pound is a mess sideways. The euro pound has always been a low ADR pair, very, very, very sideways. It's a very nice moving pair all the time because we're big trade partners. The euro and the pound get manipulated typically at different points. When the banks are manipulating currencies, they rotate through currencies. So they'll be working the euro, then they'll work the pound, then they'll work the US dollar, then they'll work the yen, and they'll work the Aussie or whatever. So you don't tend to get them both worked at the same time. So you'll get a session in New York or London where the pound will push and the euro won't be moved, and you'll get a move up, and then they'll next London session they'll do the same with the euro. So you get lots of nice movement. So again, you can take this really in any direction. People in here have been longing this, other people shorted it. You know, it's you can do what you like with it really, but it's slow as you like. So when you get into this, don't expect to get out of it the next day, and you're going to need to tie up your exposure in £1 and €1 pair. So it's just something I don't like to trade a lot, but yeah, short it at the moment. But you know, just don't get greedy with anything at the minute. Get in, get out, get your half an ADR and get out, or whatever you can get really, but just don't stay in stuff for too long. Is there still a private group for people who bought the EA? No, because the trouble with these groups, I set up these little subgroups for people to talk. And what happens is, and the same with the future, I've set the futures group up because people started wanting to talk futures a lot because I was talking futures quite a lot in here. And then I set up the group and it goes quiet because I'm not talking in here. I kind of set these groups up for people to talk, and then I can talk in there and help out and stuff, but it doesn't tend to happen. So the EA group just went quiet. Every now and again someone would ask a question in there, and it would get answered by someone or me, and then it would go quiet again. But there's not a lot really to talk about with the EA. It's you know, you set it up and let it go. So I dumped it. Interesting, your bias on Swiss yen in the My Forex Funds EA is short. Yeah. That's based on Swiss franc strength. That one. Which we're not kind of getting at the moment. Sorry, no, that's not. That's based on... Why did I base that? Why did I go short on that in this? I think it's because we were up at the highs when I put the EA on. What I was looking for was that. But you know, this is the thing at the minute with the yen. It doesn't really matter. I'm more long than short, but equally you can short it. I've got a feeling when I put the EA on, we were extended on the 4 hour, which is why I put a short bias on it. My entry was here, look. Yeah, so my entry was there. That's why I've got a short bias on it, because we're extended on the 4 hour and I needed some yen exposure. Don't forget, I've got 30 days to do this. So what my long-term bias is less relevant with my Forex funds, because I just need to get into positions and get out of them. So, yeah, it just goes to show though, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm doing an analysis on this, saying long it, and yet I've got short positions on, because and this is what I keep saying over and over again in the bootcamp. It doesn't matter really when you get in and which direction you get in to something. What matters is that the market has market structure and the market is pushing and pulling. Yeah, as long as there are people entering positions and taking profit, it doesn't matter which direction you get in, does it? It's totally irrelevant. What happens is you get into the market and the market either goes your way and you take a profit on it, or it goes against you and you scale in and take a profit on it. Doesn't matter. And this is the thing. This is the whole point of me doing the bootcamp, and the reason I trade this way is because everybody is trying to find that laser entry there where they get the 10-to-1 risk reward. If you get in with that laser entry and the market only wants to give you 1.5 before it turns around and goes the other way by 3 ADR, you're going to stop out, because everybody's looking for the entry. Everybody's trying to time the entry. You can't time the entry. You get into the market and let the market time your exit. Let the market give you the money when the market's ready to move in the opposite direction. And as long as the market moves in market structure, just get in, get out when it's ready. Yeah, put it in the oven. It's like having a cake. So you've got to put a cake in the oven. Yeah, you've read the instructions, you've built the cake, and it's absolutely fantastic. And then you find there's a bit ripped off the corner of the recipe, and this is the put in the oven for X minutes. So you've just done all this work and you're like, I've got no idea how long I need to put it in the oven for. Watch it. Stick it in the oven, watch it. When it looks like it's starting to brown on top, pull it out. Stick a knife in it. Is it soft in the middle? Yeah, brilliant. Exactly the same as trading. Yeah, stick your pie in the oven, and when it's got a green bit, take it out. I don't know when the green bit's coming. Not up to me. It's up to 10 banks. But that's the way I see it anyway. Right or wrong? We're always wrong in Forex. This is the one thing you learn about Forex is no matter what you say, you're always wrong. There's always somebody that's got the opposite opinion, and that's why we have buyers and sellers. Someone's always, every time I hit the buy button, someone's got to be selling the other side, haven't they? Someone's always got the opposite opinion to me. It's when you realise that it doesn't matter. That's when you start to make the money. Anyway, I'm off the tangent. Again, euro pound. Yeah, so euro pound. Again, if you want to short euro pound, short it. Right now, I would, if someone put a gun to my head and said, take a trade on this, I'd be shorting it. Because at the moment, the RSI is extended. I know we've had a big push, so there's more likely going to be more sellers wanting to get out of their positions than there is buyers. That's it. We've just done a liquidity run, so they've just taken that liquidity and they've got the power to do it. That's why. Do I want to be long or short long term? I haven't really got a bias. It's a mess, isn't it? It's probably a little bit more that than that, which I would expect because it's the euro, and the euro's been like that for many, many years. It's just the fact now the pound is also like that. It really doesn't matter, does it? Take that and take that. Buy it there, sell it there. That's what the EA is. That's what the EAs, that the always in the market EAs that the hedge funds use a lot. The always in EAs, they're not EAs, they're quants. They're much more complicated than an EA. But the always in strategists will be just literally, that's what they do. They ride the waves. So that's euro pound, euro yen. It's at the moment it's a mess again. All these yens are. This is the only euro I would be interested in really taking long positions on. But even then, it's the euro. So I'll be much more interested in sort of shorting the highs on it. Again, which is why the Swissy, again, I can short the Swissy because the Swissy will get pulled around by the euro as well. So yeah, I don't really have a bias on this one. Not really interested in either way. We've got these lows. We've got these highs. We're down here. If RSI was extended, I'd probably be interested in a long, but right now it's just nothing. Euro New Zealand, I'm in shorts. Same as Euro odd. Euro US dollar would be a short. Always been a short. Has been a short forever. Short it. Don't ever long it. It's much more likely the power is going to come into the US dollar than not. And it's not likely that the euro is going to power up. So this is always going to be a negative bias. Again, finding opportunities to get in. You had 2 opportunities in the last month and a half. If you drop down to the hourly, you're going to get a lot more opportunities. But obviously it's a little bit more dangerous to get in on hourly. But you know, shorts. But again, you know, same as all these euros, it's difficult to get into shorts on it at the moment. So, but I would always be trying to push the sell button rather than the buy button. Sammy, my symbols menu was in a separate window. Symbols menu is in a separate window. Oh, you mean the Market Watch? Yeah. Yeah, Market Watch. All windows float. All windows float. If you want to put it back, yeah. See how that changes from a square to an oblong. Let go. You can dock it wherever you like. If you want it over there, see over there. If you want it at the bottom, I've taken it out now. Hang on. I thought you could dock it at the bottom. Maybe I'm wrong. No, you can't dock it at the bottom. But you dock it anywhere you like. You don't have that. Market Watch. That's that button there. Market Watch button. If you don't have that button, right click, customize, and add it. Going into MT4 basics now. You don't have a right click on a Mac, do you? Because they're stupid. Stop buying Macs. Not for trading. I love Macs, but I couldn't trade with one. Buy a cheap laptop. It will save your life. Swiss yen M pattern, yeah. Cool. Right. Pounds, short on the pound at the moment for everything as well. So all the time we're behind the curve on interest rate. Literally everything at the moment, interest rates and inflation is what it's all about. Getting on top of this. As inflation goes up, interest rates need to come up, and when you get that interest rates start to flatten out inflation, interest rates will flatten out and we're on top of the curve. Then we will put something in place to get inflation back down again. How long this takes, don't know. Months, years, no idea. But all the time inflation is going like that. Oil prices are going like that. Interest rates are going to go like that. As interest rates are going like that and inflation's going up, most currencies are going to be weak. Everything's going to be weak. It's a case of the weakest, the strongest of the weak is the one that is going to pump. So at the moment, the pound against the odd Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar are getting on top of inflation a little bit quicker than everybody else. Therefore, they should be stronger than all the other currencies, but not by a lot. So again, shorts on the pound, every opportunity. Pound New Zealand, pound odd. I'm in pound New Zealand short on my Forex funds account. So yeah, just shorts on this, on these two for the foreseeable. At the moment, obviously it's pushing down, so you want to wait for opportunities to get in short. So hourly, look at pullbacks. Fibs are really good. You know, if RSI is great for mean reversion when we've got strength in the market. Don't forget, this is the relative strength index. When there's little strength in the market, like summer trading months where we've got low liquidity, there is little strength. Therefore, you get less RSI alerts. If you want to use something else in the interim, use a fib. Just stick a fib on your charts and just measure the moves. So if we were waiting for an hourly extension on RSI to enter a position, you could get in when we get to the 50 to 72 fib level, somewhere around there. You might find you're only around 60. But if we're looking for trend continuation, yeah, look at that move there. Yeah. 61.8. Yeah, so just that's what we're going to get if we don't get RSI extensions. We just happen to get an RSI extension on this one as well, because it was a fast move. But if we got that kind of movement, yeah, flag, then you can use fib extensions as well. So they are helpful, fib extensions, for getting into positions when we've got light liquidity. CCI works. Yeah, all of it doesn't matter. I use the RSI because I have found it personally in my research to be the one that I got on with the most. If you want to use the stochastic, you want to use the CCI. Use anything you like. Like I say, I keep saying this as well. 90% of indicators are telling you the same thing. All oscillators are market condition indicators. Yeah, they tell you what the condition of the market is. The CCI will tell you when it is at a level. It's a condition. Yeah, so you couple a condition indicator with a signal indicator. Market reversal alerts tells you when market structure is breaking and shifting to the downside. So the condition is extended. The signal is we're starting to get power in the opposite direction. That's the mean reversion strategy at a level of logical sense. 2, confluence, condition, reason, signal. So all the strategy is. You can use any indicator you like. I just use RSI because I've just used RSI. And that's what I use and what I like. I've done research on CCI. Stochastics, I've done research on stochastics, multi-time frame stochastics. I even built an indicator for it. And I got on really well with multi-time frame stochastics, but stochastics is fast and it tends to get you into way more conditions than you would like. RSI is a lot slower. CCI, I don't know about, but I mean, research it. Stick it on a chart. They're so easy. Oscillators are the easiest thing to backtest in the world. Stick it on a chart. Change the settings to something, whatever, and look at it and go, right, what happens every time it got up there? How many times did it work? How many times did it fail? If it failed, how long was it before it started to work? Yeah, so got there, worked. 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 Got there. Didn't work. How long was it before it worked? It went up into an accumulation, then it worked. Worked. That's the reason I use the RSI 14, because in my back testing, the RSI 14 was just accurate, but not all the time. When you get a squeeze, a la here, yeah, that didn't work for ages. Yes, it worked there. So you would have been scaling in. Oh my God, I'm wrong. Aggressive drawdown control, exit, out. Failing that, oh my God, a squeeze for a couple of months, out. But this is where your bias comes into it and why you need to learn a little bit about fundamentals. Because you shouldn't have been longing the pound. because the pound was a short from there. This pound was a short from way back, but you know, but just that's what it's for. That's what that's why it's so easy to backtest oscillators. Why everybody likes to use oscillators, because they're really simple to read as well. It's, you know, it's really easy. When it's down here, I like to buy stuff. A lot of people use the RSI in a totally different way. When the RSI crosses above the 50 level, they buy it, which is right, because the relative strength is getting stronger. Therefore, you should be a buyer. It depends if you're a trend trader or a mean reversion trader. Works for both mean reversion and for trending strategies. A lot of people buy it when it exits the 20 line. So they'll buy it here. They'll put a buy in there, but not until it's done that. For me, I get a market reversal alert down here way faster than I do when it exits there. So this is why multi-time frame analysis is important. The condition is extended there, so I drop down to a lower time frame and take the first signs of strength. Multi-time frame analysis. Where was I? I'm going off on one again. Yeah, I've been using for 20 years. Yeah, cool. DAX collapsed, is it? What drawing tool do I use? This is Epic Pen. What's this? DAX is collapsed. Oh yes, right. So we didn't get the gap fill. Oh, I've just TP'd on my DAX. That's annoying. Let's hit ADR. I was kind of hoping it's going to do the gap fill before it did the collapse, but it looks like it's doing the collapse first. So, which makes it really difficult to trade now, because there's this thing. There's two gaps now sitting on the back of my mind saying we got unfinished business to conduct here and here. So you really want to short it, but in the back of your mind, you've got problems to solve. So next DAX pretty tricky this week. So this is a pretty good support resistance. Failing that, coming back down to here. So 225 ADR. Somewhere around here is the next support resistance level, if we don't get a bounce off of here, where we are right now. But yeah, coming down pretty hard at the moment. Interesting. Okay, so pound odd, pound CAD. Let me just check my Forex funds. Oh, I've got no DAX on. Oh, it's because I got out of it on Friday. We obviously haven't had a pushback to get a reversal alert, so I haven't been able to get into any more DAX. Anyway, well, nothing to do about that one. Right. So yeah, pound CAD. Short. Obviously, the fly in the ointment here is the Canadian dollar. At the moment, it's not as strong as it should be. There's no reason why it shouldn't strengthen up, but obviously keeping a very close eye on oil, see what's happening with oil. We're down at support. Whoops, wrong line. At the moment. So we're down at the support at the moment, which is holding at the minute. We've rejected it again, so we've got a nice liquidity run just happened there. So potentially we could get a little bit of a bounce on this one. We could come back up into this sort of port here, there's a resistance there. So this area here is pretty decent, and obviously these highs. So we could well get a nice push back from here and then drop back down. So it looks good for potentially a short when we get back up into there, but I'm not interested in longing it. Again, you can probably do that. You can probably take a long there, but just be aware we may come into this little accumulation here and stop and then move down again. We may get all the way back up into that resistance. Don't know, but I've been much more comfortable shorting it there and scaling into a short than I am longing it here, because if we don't pull back and we drop, we could get an embedded scenario where we have a bit of a flush and a squeeze, and because we're in a downtrend, I can take advantage of that with a short. With a long, I'm just going to go into drawdown. So pound CAD, looking for shorts, but if you want to be brave, mean revert against the trend, equally that could well play out today. Looks like it's going to. You're just about to get an M5 reversal alert on it. There's a lovely liquidity run just gone in. Look, just taking liquidity at the lows from Friday. So yeah, could be a good little long, but personally I'd rather be shorting it. Pound Swiss, same thing, looking for an opportunity to get in. That is the only one we've had where we got above extension prior to June, that is now we're going back to. So haven't had an opportunity to get into this one short, but looks good. Again, low time frames, hourly. You had an opportunity last week on it up there. I got into pound New Zealand. Yeah, looks good for shorts. Pound yen, no idea. This is a real mess, this one, compared to the euro yen. This is even more messy. Don't know. In theory, you can take anything you like. So just wait for it to get extended. Wait for us to get extended on the 4 hour. Drop down to either M15 or M5 and take reversal alerts to get you into the positions. But again, don't know on this one. All the pounds dropping today. What's this yen? Yeah, so this is yen strength coming through. This is what I'm worried about with the yen, which I don't mind at the moment because I've got a Swiss yen short on all my Forex ones. But the yen has a habit of putting in these big, strong runs. So mean reverting at the lows on RSI will probably work. But if we get the opposite happening on the yen and the yen powering up, Kuroda comes out and says something, you're going to get one of those massive style moves in, which is what worries me about the yen at the moment. I just don't know from a fundamental perspective which way the yen is going to go. So if you're going to get in, just get ready to get out fast. But pound yen is very similar. It's weak, the pound. So if the yen powers up, it's going to beat the euro yen, and the pound yen are going to be the ones which are going to flush the fastest. So looking good for shorts, and then obviously Swiss yen as well, because it will be dragged down with the euro yen. But yeah, I don't know on this one. I really don't know. So not really that interested at the moment. It's flashing nicely, so I'll leave it alone for a minute. Pound New Zealand shorts. I'm short on my Forex funds account from there. Looks good. So that was last week, the entry on that one. Pound US dollar short as well. So again, you know, don't long it. Euro US dollar, pound US dollar, one or the other. Don't take both. Well, you can take both really, but I mean, just be aware you're overexposing yourself, because really it's the pound, it's the US dollar that's going to move these. Is £6 per lot very expensive? What is commission? No idea. Can answer that one. You're not going to trade a lot though, are you? You're not going to be trading lots, so you need to take a percentage of that. That doesn't sound very expensive to me, if that's the question. Loads on the pound US dollar. Obviously we've got this area here to look at, so we need to be aware that we will get a bounce from there of some description, because there'll be limit orders sitting at the lows looking to buy it up. How much of a bounce we'll get will depend on how many buyers step in on It's just coming down to an area, and we were very nicely extended. But look at this. Yeah. If this breaks, this support breaks, and it breaks considerably, and they come back and retest that, we're off. So we get an embedded situation down here for a bit. But then we will get a pullback off of it. Obviously, as people profit take on this move, everyone that's gotten short here is still in it. So we will get a pullback, but it could drop. So shorts for me, not longs. This is where I want to be. 24.72 zone is where I'm always interested. So the shorts are up there. We've missed those. They're playing out nicely now. Last week, I think, was it last week? Week before, we had an opportunity on the hourly to get into that move. Not at the moment. New Zealand dollar CAD shorts based on CAD strength. We need more CAD strength. New Zealand dollar weakened massively on their interest rate, which is why, at the moment, these interest rates are very hit and miss. Sometimes we're getting interest rates coming out as expected, which you would usually expect to pump the currency, and we're getting big tanks like we had with the New Zealand. So you've got to be very careful. But regardless of what happens when the interest rate announcements come out, the profit take moves will start. It's this one, obviously. If you look at this on the hourly, you can see when the rate announcement came out, and whoops, we had that big spike. So the profit, that was the profit take move there. Then we pushed another one leg, little profit take, another leg, little profit take. Yeah, it's a fast, hard trend, hard to get out on, which is why I say if you're going to mean revert against the trend at the moment, just don't get greedy. Half an ADR and take it, because if you may get stuck in the wrong direction, which is why I'd much rather be in line with long-term trend at the minute. Short. So nothing on that one. New Zealand dollar Swiss, looking for shorts on this one as well. What did we get down to there? So we have tapped into support here. This area here is supportive. We found some buyers, some limit orders kicking in there. But if you look at this level here, we've got these lows. Yeah, likelihood is we're going to push somewhere up into here and then start next leg down. Needing the Swiss franc to power up a little bit. But yeah, liking this for shorts. Again, the entry was here, week before last. New Zealand dollar yen, sideways. Don't know, take your pick. This is a really good example of a range. So we've got the highs up there. We've got this area here. So we're in a big old range on it, and right now you are bang in the middle of that range. This thing could go that way, could go that way. So if you're going to take a trade on this, start looking for shorts somewhere up in this area. Start looking for longs somewhere down in this area. Either way, likelihood is you will get an RSI extension when you get there. So again, just use RSI. That's what it's there for. It tells you the condition of the market. The market is extended to the downside. The market is extended to the upside. If we're extended to the upside and we're at a level of logical support resistance, short it. Right now, I haven't got a clue. It's going to up or down. I don't know. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, shorts. Again, all these US dollars are with a pinch of salt at the moment. There's a caveat attached to them. We don't know. US dollar at the moment is really undecided. We're waiting for the Fed to confirm one way or the other whether they are bullish or bearish. We get mixed messages all the time at the moment coming out of the Fed. So in theory, you can literally take this one in either direction. But long term is bearish, short term is bullish. So this is the problem at the minute. It's very difficult to get any kind of real bias on the US dollar. So I would be much more interested in shorting it at the moment based on long-term trend. So the entries were all week before last, and obviously that's all played out. US dollar CAD sideways. This is a kind of strong currency against a strongish currency. So sideways. In theory, again, with this one, you could probably take every extension you get, long or short. There is no directional bias. The moving averages are flat. We don't have any bias on it. Difficult targets to pick on it, but I would be interested in longing or shorting this. So US dollar CAD at the moment is a little bit of a short. Again, I'm not really that interested in it at the moment. Thinking news-wise, what we've got. So we've got PMI tomorrow afternoon, and we've got PC on Friday. So I think at the moment what I'm looking at with these is any RSI extensions with ADR extensions, I would probably be interested in short. Really, just making sure it's really extended. So looking at the RSI dash at the moment, the pound US dollar is really the only thing I'm interested in. I'm slightly interested in euro US dollar and pound CAD and US dollar yen, but pound US dollar is completely the opposite direction for me. If US dollar CAD gets more extended to the upside, I would be interested in shorting it. So we'll have that sort of movement. So if we got a real good extension on that, I'd be interested in a short. My exposure at the moment is very light. I've got Euro New Zealand on, and I've got oil. And I'm going to continue to short the DAX. So the EA is still running on the DAX. I will still be getting in short on the DAX. Every time it pulls back, I'm going to short it. So the EA is still running on that, but my exposure is obviously very low at the moment, just literally Euro New Zealand and oil. I just haven't got, there's nothing out there right now that is jumping out at me saying, trade me. So I'm going to have another look through the charts this afternoon after we've got the London session out the way, and see if there's anything I'm going to get into. And if there is, obviously I'll put it in the Telegram group when I'm getting in, or I'm going to stick the EA on, let the EA get me in when the conditions are right. But the stuff that's extended at the moment is just not quite right. So things like the US dollar CAD, yes, it's extended, but it's only just got there. Likelihood is I think we probably will get that move to the downside, but right now it's pushing, and we've just broken a new high. The next high is up there. There's nothing but clean air between where we are right now and that. Yeah, so this whole section, we've got this little accumulation here, which I guess is probably the best spot. So if it gets to there, we've got an ADR extension at a propulsion gap with an RSI condition extended, I'll take a reversal alert. But for me, right now where it is, there's no point in shorting it for shorting its sake. I'm not shorting it just because the RSI is extended. This thing's pushing. Oil is dropping. Canadian dollar is probably not going to be strong while that's happening. So, you off, Sammy? Okay. Entered your first live trade today, so I could use some luck. Oh yeah, your funded account, didn't you? Good luck. So yeah, US dollar CAD, I'm looking for shorts on that one at the moment, just not right now. I'm going to see if that pushes up a little bit more. I might take one on it. I'll have a look again a bit later on. US dollar Swiss, I like short. In fact, I do like that. Yeah, US dollar Swiss looks pretty good at the moment. Nice extension on the RSI. It's only just extended. Again, look at this one here. This is where you just don't take RSI for the RSI's sake. All that was embedded for a good week or so. You were embedded on RSI. RSI embedded. Yeah. If you look at these, we've got this big downtrend at the moment on these RSIs. So this is bearish. We've got a nice double top at ADR, and we've got that previous support resistance level there. So there's areas here where we're likely to get some kind of reaction. That's going to rely on some Swiss franc strength coming through as well, which we haven't had for a while, which is overdue. So this is kind of, from a timing perspective, probably looking pretty good. So I'm going to take this one, Euro Swiss as a short, US dollar Swiss as a short on the next reversal alert. Oh, I can't move my window. Hello. Hello. Right. US or Swiss. All right. 15, 16. Short. So US dollar Swiss getting in next short on that one. A nice strong push. So this is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 days up now on this. We're due a down day, aren't we? Looks good. US dollar yen. Again, this one is extended on the 4 hour. Nice M pattern reversal. Nice 3-bar reversal going in as well. Look at that 3-bar reversal. Textbook. And it's going to give you a reversal alert. Kind of missed it. The entry on this was this morning in Asia. Up here. I don't like this as much, just because it's a yen. But again, nice, potentially good, strong move to the downside could come on this one. We've got a contraction going on potentially at the moment as well. So playing it back down to there and continue with contraction, but I just don't really like the yen much at the minute. So DE30 DAX. Yes, DE30 is the DAX. Germany 30. DE is Germany. It's actually 40. DE30, DE40. Depends on your broker. Right, so that's it. Everything covered. So I'm just getting into US dollar Swiss. Euro New Zealand. I've banked 1.3. I've got 0.5% on Euro New Zealand. Things still going like a steam train. So I'm going to bank some of that as well. That hits target today. I'll bank that. I'm going to stick a trailer on that higher position. So that one there. Just sticking a trailer on that one. I'm going to get out of that. And then obviously if it pushes back up again, I can get in again. But I'll still have that one on. Bank it. 0.5%. Stick that over there. Gives me 0.8% for the day. And then we're just waiting on oil. US dollar Swiss just entered first position. Just saw that pop in there. Andy getting itchy buy finger on S&P. We're at the 200 EMA and I've just filled 50%. Yeah, I mean, buy it if you want to buy it. Personally, I'm bearish on all indices, but you know, this is what I keep saying. Just because you're bearish on something doesn't mean it's not going to go the other way. It's got to go the other way. All these sellers have to get out. So all these sellers will have to get out. So yes, we are going to get a push at some point. I don't know when. I mean, I would just wait for a reversal alert to show you that you've got some signs of strength coming in. You've got these gaps. This is the thing. This at the moment, this looks really good from a gap perspective. We've got those gap fills to do. Euro US dollars just hit the monthly. Euro yen just hit ADR. We got a gap from this week to fill today. Well, at some point. That could quite easily be the move of the day. But, you know, this is what I've been waiting for, this, and anticipating. If that happens, you don't want to get in the other side of it. If you're using a stop, it's not an issue. If you're going to position trade it, I wouldn't long it. But if you're going to use a stop, it doesn't matter, does it? But I wait for some signs of strength. Yeah, don't get in until you get, you know, this is what the... Wait until you get a bullish engulfing of some description. We've had literally not one bullish signal yet. We've had a bullish candle there, which was an inside bar. We've had a bullish candle there, which was an inside bar. We've had doji there, which didn't break above there. Yeah, when you get a bullish candle, that is potentially when that mean reversion is going to start. How far that mean reversion is going to go, don't know. Possibly up to there. Probably up to the gap fill. Will it do it today? Don't know. But until you get any kind of bullish price action on this, just don't. There's no point in getting in. So just wait. You know, it's difficult. That is why I have on the Price Action Toolkit. This is why we have this. These buttons, buy stop last. Yeah. So the reason the buy stop is entered above the high of that last candle is so that situations like this, yeah, you see this candle and you want to go long. If it doesn't break the high of that candle, i.e. it's going to give you an inside bar on that candle, that's not bullish. Yeah. The only way this is going to trigger now is if we get a bullish candle and we attempt to break that high. So that inside bar gets invalidated. That's potentially bullish, but they could just wick the inside bar and then close with a bearish candle. Yeah. So buy stops are more dangerous than it waiting for confirmation. If this paints, just going to cancel that pending, so I don't actually want to get into that trade. If this closes like that, that is confirmation of a bullish move because we've broken the high of the previous candle. Don't need to teach about price action, but some people in here, everyone's at different levels, aren't they? So there you go. So there's your bearish engulfing. Yeah. But that bearish engulfing there is not confirmation of a bear move starting. This candle here is confirmation of the bear move starting. Why? Because the low of that candle broke. So this was a bearish engulfing showing signs of sellers starting to enter the market. This is a confirmation that those sellers have taken control because they have broken below the low of the last buyer's move. That is your entry on confirmation. That is your entry on speculation. Either way, you would have worked in that case, but you know, that is not a bullish candle. That level is where we're looking to break. This thing could go like that for the next 20 minutes and then collapse. But who knows? We don't know. That's why we wait for the market to tell us. This is 1.5 hours into the open as well. Opening range low 2 is in, which is quite often where we will potentially start to see some moves starting to happen. But yeah, no, I agree. It's a nice looking long at the moment. But I shall wait. All of these are nice looking longs. S&P. Well, you were talking about the S&P, weren't you? And I was looking at the DAX, but it's all the same stuff. You know, S&P. Yeah. That's our last down candle. popped out below it, bullish. Tapped into it, bearish. Took out the high, didn't close above it. So this is all inside bar. And we break out and hold outside of that. That is my entry. If you want confirmation that the structure's changed, obviously you wait a bit longer. Which is why price action is king. You know, this is what I say. Every indicator, market reversal alerts indicator included, lags. They all lag the market. They tell you when a condition has happened. Price action tells you when a condition is happening. Right now, the sellers have run out of sell orders. Why? Because we're going sideways, which means there's just not enough sellers to push us lower anymore, which means there are more buyers in the market than sellers have been at the moment. We're in equilibrium, we're in balance. This balance will be broken when the buyers or the sellers overpower each other, and whoever's been buying here goes below there. They will puke their orders, get out of their orders, become sellers, and that propels the sell move. But until that is broken, we've got no confirmation either way, have we? Which way we're going at the minute. And this is why the reversal indicator is so good, in my opinion, because that's what it's doing. If you look at it, if we go below it a little bit, that's fine. But if we come above that level, it means that this move is potentially over. We've got confirmation, and that's why the retest arrow is there, because usually after the buyers have managed to get enough power to move it back in the opposite direction, they will run out of steam and they'll go, phew. Then they will step in and defend their positions and push higher. That's what the retest is. Yeah, it's all telling you the same sort of stuff. It's just in varying degrees of speed. But these are all timing tools, you know, like I say, you can't time the market. We can try, but most of the time it's an epic fail. Wow, go for it, US dollar Swiss. Look at that for an entry on the US dollar Swiss. Hello. Like it. US dollar Swiss short. Right. Okay, that's it for today. Anybody got anything else you want to discuss? Let me know. I'll be in the Telegram group if you need me. Back tomorrow morning at 7:50 at the same time. I am going to this afternoon have another analysis of all pairs. I'm going to go through everything again. We've got further extension on the Euro US dollar and the pound CAD coming now, and the US dollar yen. You know, these things could get further and further extended. Even though I've got opposite bias on things like this, you know, if it gets up to here, I don't care. The market is going to pull back. If we get to 90-10, I don't care what my bias is. It goes out the window because the thing's going to revert. So if we do get massive extensions on these things, then obviously I will be interested in them. So I'm going to do another analysis of the 4 hour later this afternoon, after London, after lunch. And then I'll have a look and see if there's anything that's caught my eye. But a lot of stuff is reverting at the moment. We've got some reversals all starting to kick in. So it's all starting to go in the right directions, which is good. Morning, Neo. You're late. Yes, I'm about to disappear. Can you turn up at 9:30? We start at 10 to 8. You're going to have to watch the replay in low resolution until YouTube has managed to render it. Yeah, still working on the my Forex funds. Hopefully I'll be able to get some profit out of this one today. US dollar Swiss I've got a long on at the moment. Bias on that one. That's based on Swissy in the US, so I might go into a bit of drawdown on that one, but either way, you can play it in both directions. Swiss yen's pulling back at the moment. But I'm going to let that run, just let the EA manage that one for me. Right, that's it. So I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50. Euro New Zealand, I'm going to take some profit on. Just pulling back at the moment, so that trading stop is probably going to get triggered in a minute, but either or. So I'll get out of one of those positions. Oil is my main trade at the moment. So we've got some bullish moves starting to happen on that one now. So hopefully we'll start to get some movement to the upside on that today. We've got a little bit of a gap fill to do as well, but some good moves to the upside on oil, potentially on the cards. So we just made a new high on Friday. So the market structure is definitely on the turn. Just waiting as usual. All right, so I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50. If you need anything, let me know. I will be around in the Telegram group. Good luck today. If anything gets closed out, I'll let you know in the Telegram group. If I enter any new positions this afternoon, I will let you know as well. There's nothing really leaping out at me massively at the moment, apart from that US dollar Swiss. So I'm not sure I will, but I will let you know in the Telegram group if I do. Okay, so have a good morning and day, and I will see you guys tomorrow.